it going?
Hey, how you doing?
Pretty good. What do we got here?
1960 Les Paul Custom.
A man walks into the shop carrying a piece of rock and roll history, a 1960 Gibson Les Paul Custom, or so he believes. He claims it traveled the country with him in the 80s while touring with Triumph and Toto. Now, after decades of memories, he's ready to let it go for the right price.
Coming to the pawn shop today to try and sell my 1960s. This guitar means a lot to me. I did a lot of touring back in the 80s. This has done a lot of memorable shows.
Les Paul wasn't just a musician, he was an innovator, credited with over 60 patents. When he partnered with Gibson, the result changed music forever. The custom model in question features triple binding, gold hardware, and diamond inlays. If it's a real 1960, it could be worth a fortune. The seller wants $25,000, but it's clear the guitar's been played hard.
If it really is a 1960, it's worth thousands and thousands of dollars. So why'd you want to sell it?
I just feel that it's time.
It looks pretty beat to hell.
There's a catch. Gibson's 1960s serial numbers are notoriously unreliable. One wrong digit and a buyer could mistake a 69 for a 62, losing thousands in the process. To avoid getting burned, the shop calls in an expert to verify every inch of the guitar. If it's legit, this could be a major score.
This is a very cool guitar. It's a good one. Tell it's got a good weight. It's not too heavy. Some of these get a little heavy. It's got some wear on it, but that's just character. I've seen Les Pauls go up to...
The expert inspects it thoroughly. It's got great weight and vintage wear. Everything you'd expect. Les Pauls have sold for as much as $450,000 in pristine condition. But even one out-of-place detail could crush that dream in seconds. Then comes the truth bomb.
And you'll have a serial number that dates the guitar at 60, and sometimes models that they didn't even make in the 60s. So
Okay.
It's got a two-piece body.
It's not a 1960. The two-piece body, Gibson didn't start using those until late 1969. And the neck volute? That design didn't show up until the 70s. Despite its authentic parts, this is a 1970 to 1974 model. Value drops dramatically from a potential jackpot to about $3,000.
Paul, my stomach kind of dropped a little bit. It kind of hit me pretty hard. Took a while to sink in.
The seller is stunned. The guitar he believed was a rare treasure turns out to be more common than he thought. Still, Rick makes an offer, $2,000. But for the owner, the guitar holds too many memories to part with. He decides to keep it and possibly take it back on the road.
I think it's going to go back on the road with
Okay, sorry we couldn't do business. Sorry it wasn't worth a lot of money.
It's all right. Thanks. We tried.
Okay, have a good one, man.
Despite the disappointment, the guitar isn't going anywhere. It may not be worth $25,000, but sentimentally, it's priceless.
Used around the Revolutionary War period. An amateur collector. This is the oldest one I've ever bought. It's got a lot of history to it. I think it's a really good gun.
An 18th century flintlock pistol shows up at the shop, old, gritty, and allegedly tied to the Revolutionary War era. It's the kind of weapon that didn't just fire shots. It doubled as a blunt force beast, a collector's dream, complete with tales of estate sales and generational ownership.
After they'd shoot something, and they'd flip it around and use this to smash somebody in the head.
You can actually make some of these with axes.
Yeah, isn't that cool? I'm here today to sell my 18th century flintlock pistol. I consider myself
The owner doesn't really want to part with it, but pressure from the home front leaves him no choice. He swears it's legit and rich in history, claiming it's the crown jewel of his collection.
had a lot of information about it. And if you look over here, they've got some of the markings that are indicative of something in that.
His asking price? A cool $1,000. The shop's interest is piqued, but only if it's the real deal. It's time to bring in an expert, because with antiques like these, authenticity is everything.
Before I make a deal, I gotta call somebody and find out. Hey, Sean, how's it going?
Hey, Corey. Good to see you again. What I love about the...
Enter the antique arms expert. He's instantly drawn in, holding the piece with reverence, imagining its place in colonial warfare. The flintlock form checks a few boxes, supposedly made between 1790 and 1820. But boxes aren't enough. It's time for a deeper inspection.
Okay, and did he represent it as, authentic, and did it come with any paperwork or provenance or anything like that?
He did tell me it was authentic.
Okay.
It's a smoothbore barrel with short-range capabilities, standard for the time. If real, its worth could climb up to $2,500. The condition is surprisingly clean, with markings intact and minimal pitting, almost too clean.
A range of about 20 to 30 feet, and, it wasn't rifled, so your accuracy, not so good.
What do you think it's worth?
It's authentic in a...
And then the twist. It's a fake, a well-made reproduction with punched-in markings, not the hand-engraved authenticity of the era. Even the King George III insignia is off. The telltale proof marks from the Tower of London? Nowhere to be found.
This is unfortunately a reproduction.
Okay, so how can you tell?
First of all, the markings were, punched in as
The final verdict, 100% reproduction. Artificial aging, artificial story, real disappointment. The value tanks to $75 to $100, roughly a tenth of what the seller paid.
100% positive. It looks the period and it looks like it has age, but it's all artificial.
So how much is this thing worth?
A hard lesson in antique collect. No provenance, no paperwork, and now, no profit. The seller walks away crushed, already dreading the fallout at home. And that gun or the wife ultimatum? Well, looks like the gun is definitely the one going.
Pretty ornate, it's got kind of this filigree on it, some really cool patterns. Even on the revolving chamber itself, it has some designs on it. It's pretty fancy, especially for the 1800s.
A woman named Maya walks in with a Civil War era revolver, passed down from her great-grandfather. It's super ornate, engraved barrel, fancy patterns, and a sleek patina. Chumley is impressed, and Maya's hoping to turn it into cash for a family trip to Texas, with a little shooting involved, of course.
Well, it was passed down from my family. We own a gun range out in New Mexico, so my great-grandfather actually passed it down to us.
Okay, well, since your family owns a gun range, I have to just ask now, have you ever fired it?
Not this one.
Okay, well, it's definitely a beautiful gun.
Maya's family runs a gun range in New Mexico, so this piece comes with some history. Chum notices the Maynard patent stamp, classic percussion cap design from 1840 to 1860. She's hoping for $2,800, based on similar guns she saw online.
45, I think, 1843 maybe?
You want me to check that?
I think it says Maynard patent right here.
Oh yeah, I see it. Yes.
So, I mean, it would lead me to believe this is an American gun. I'm not seeing anything that would...
Chum calls in Alex, their antique firearms expert. He instantly spots a gem, Massachusetts Arms Company. Rare stuff. Turns out Colt sued this company for patent infringement, so they designed a workaround, a revolver where you have to manually rotate the cylinder. Cool, but definitely not user-friendly.
So what I have here is a U.S. Civil War revolver. It's from the mid-1800s, and I just know it was one of my great-great-grandfather's prized possessions.
Really?
Yeah.
I want you to take a look at it. It looks a little fancy for the 1800s.
Do you mind if I pick it up?
Yeah, go for it.
So,
even cooler, it has a Maynard tape primer system, a little tape that feeds percussion caps like old school ammo. Total collector's item. Only 1,000 were ever made. If it fires, it could be worth $4,000 or even $5,000. If not, still a solid $2,500 to $3,000.
back in sort of firearms technology. The other thing that's unique about this revolver is the little door here. So if you push down, you reveal this little chamber here, and essentially what that's for is...
Maya agrees to let them test fire it. Alex takes it for inspection. Everything checks out. It's clean, no red flags, so they head to the firing range with a box of Boston baked beans as their themed targets. Gotta love that Massachusetts connection.
Are you fine with it?
Yeah, I'm okay with it.
All right, so if you don't mind, we'll let Alex
Yeah.
take it back because it needs to be fully inspected before
Okay.
we shoot it. All right, Alex, anything else you need?
No, that's it.
With safety gear on, Alex loads it up. It's a weird loading process, all thanks to Colt's old patent drama, but the revolver's ready to rock. He fires a shot and boom, beans everywhere. It's raining legumes. Everyone's pumped.
Magical fruit.
The magical fruit?
Yeah.
I've never heard that.
The more you eat, the more you toot. I'm excited.
All right, so should I load it up?
Yeah.
I'm ready.
Back at the shop, Alex confirms it. This piece is in excellent condition, fully functional and loaded with history. He estimates it's worth $5,000, but Maya's only asking $2,800, a steal. Chum doesn't hesitate. Deal made, everyone wins, and Maya's off to Texas with some serious cash and a great story.
This. I thought you might want to take a look at a limited edition of the book 7 Years in Tibet by Heinrich Harr. These boards are all actually hand-carved by Tibetan monks.
Looked a hell of a lot older when it was in your hand.
Yeah, it's designed to look older than it actually is.
Mike steps into the pawn shop with something truly unique, a limited edition of 7 Years in Tibet by Heinrich Harrer. This isn't your average book. It's hand-carved by Tibetan monks with a look that screams ancient, though it's only from 1993. The cover alone is enough to make Rick raise an eyebrow, but Mike's aiming for a $3,000 sale, claiming this book's rarity could be worth a fortune.
The price I'm looking for would be about $3,000. Come off that agreement. great deal, maybe $2,800, just because it's a book that I really like.
I'm deeply intrigued here. The book's an amazing story. It's
Mike reveals he's had the book for 10 years, bought from an antiquarian bookseller, but now he's ready to part with it. But hold up, Rick's intrigued but skeptical. Sure, the story behind the book is wild. Herer's journey through war-torn landscapes, friendships forged with the Dalai Lama, and survival against impossible odds. But 1993? That's a tough sell for something so expensive.
2 years getting from the border of Tibet to Lhasa, the capital. It's an adventure story because that whole 2 years they were basically starving to death. They almost died because of the elements.
well, yeah, because Tibet, it's
Rick gets passionate about the history of Tibet, dropping a truth bomb. The Chinese occupation has decimated the region's culture. With so much of Tibet gone, this book serves as an irreplaceable time capsule. It's not just about the book, it's about preserving a piece of history that's fading fast.
I think it's one of the great tragedies of the 20th century. To this day, the Chinese still occupy Tibet, and they've basically destroyed the culture there. They've made, native Tibetans leave. They brought in
Mike pulls the book open, revealing exquisite engravings and a signature from Heinrich Herer himself. This isn't just a book, it's a piece of history in the palm of your hand. But Rick's still got his doubts about its value. Printed in 1993, it doesn't exactly scream vintage treasure. Still, Rick's fascinated enough to get an expert's opinion.
There we go. This is number 17 out of 300, and it's signed by the author.
when was it printed?
1993.
Okay, it's really interesting. What'd you want to do with it? You want to sell it? You want to?
I was interested in possibly selling it, yeah.
Enter Rebecca Romney, a book expert who's practically glowing when she sees the book. She dives into the Limited Editions Club, a publishing powerhouse that churned out artistic, rare editions for nearly a century. And get this, only 300 copies of this book were ever made, and they were all signed by the author himself. Suddenly, this book doesn't just have value, it's a gold mine in disguise.
Kick rocks immediately.
I understand.
But I am deeply intrigued by it. I know a lot about a lot of, but I don't know what this book is. I'd really like to have someone look at it. I have a friend who, that's all she does is...
Rebecca starts breaking it down. Sure, the craftsmanship is top tier, luxurious paper, unique designs, and binding you won't find anywhere else. But even she's quick to warn Rick that these books can be tricky to price, with values ranging from $1,800 to $2,000 based on condition. Suddenly, Mike's hopes of $3,000 seem a little too ambitious.
New book doesn't necessarily mean it's not rare.
All right.
So this is Limited Editions Club.
Right.
They stopped just a few years ago, actually. They ran for almost 100 years, producing books by essentially subscription.
Rick's got his poker face on now. He's seen it all, and he's not impressed by the high asking price, but he's willing to negotiate and offers $1,500. He claims it's a fair price for what he's getting, and honestly, he's probably right. But Mike's not budging. This book means too much to him.
This book was produced through the Limited Editions Club. They would pay a ton of attention to the ink, to the type, to the paper, to the binding, and so it's no surprise to me at all that they've actually put this together in a beautiful way.
Mike, clearly attached to the book, isn't ready to let it go for anything less than what he feels it's worth. So, despite Rick's offer, Mike decides to hold on to it. Will he ever reconsider? It's hard to say, but for now, it's back on his shelf, waiting for a better offer that might just come someday.
And this is...
This is the earliest sticker-sealed Super Mario Brothers Nintendo game.
That's pretty amazing. I know some of them go for a lot of money. Chum.
What?
Can you come over here and help me?
A rare gem walks through the door, an unopened, sticker-sealed Super Mario Bros. Game from the 1985 test market launch. Rick and Chumley are stunned as they realize it's not just any version, but the earliest print of one of the most iconic video games ever made. Could this little piece of history be worth millions? As the price tag looms, everyone is left wondering, is this the holy grail of video game collecting?
Mind if I take a look?
Absolutely, sure.
Oh, this is this isn't the shrink wrap thicker still version, which I don't know too much about, but I know these are pretty rare.
This one also happens to be...
The stakes are raised as the owner asks for a jaw-dropping $1 million for the game. Rick's eyes widen. This isn't your average rare find. While the price may seem crazy, there's an undeniable buzz around the game market lately, with auctions fetching thousands. But $1 million? That's unheard of. Rick decides to call in the experts, and it's clear things are about to get real interesting.
It's a lot of money for a video game.
I agree. It is a lot of money.
I know there's video game collecting going on. I know I've seen some recent auctions where I was sort of shocked when there's some video games sold for $29,000 just the cartridge.
Enter Deniz Khan, a grading expert who's seen it all. What makes this particular copy be so special? It's not just any sealed game, it's the last known unopened second print from Nintendo's earliest test market run. With only around 10,000 copies ever produced, and possibly only one surviving in sealed condition, the stakes couldn't be higher. This isn't just a game, it's a historic artifact that might rewrite what collectors are willing to pay.
I think Mario hit him on the head with a pipe wrench. So he wants $1 million for this thing, which I think is insane.
Yeah, I remember it, and I know why he's asking astronomical money on this one. This is probably the most significant piece of video game history that's ever passed through.
Denise drops some serious knowledge. Video games aren't just relics, they're art, history, and nostalgia, all rolled into one. This Super Mario Bros. Game is the trifecta: rare, wildly popular, and a cornerstone of video game culture. With no other sealed copies known to exist, this could be the game that sets the bar for future auctions. But will someone dare to drop $1 million for it?
They started mass producing these and sending them across the country. They had to have something that would last on the shelves longer, which is also why seeing this in this condition is just, it's a complete anomaly. This is the second print.
The expert reveals a shocking truth. Offers as high as $300,000 have been turned down, with the potential for this rare piece to go even higher. But what's the ceiling? As video games climb in value, this one could shatter expectations. It's high risk, high reward, and Rick is left grappling with the idea that this could be worth a fortune. One thing's for sure, this game is in a league of its own. After a deep dive into the world of rare video games, Rick is in awe of the potential this game holds. The decision is tough, while Rick learns a ton.
Your estimate would be?
It's really hard to tell. It hasn't sold on the open market. As video games are starting to be viewed more as art and history, not just these relics of nostalgia, this is it. This is the one that started it all.
The price is still too much for him to pull the trigger. The owner isn't budging, but walks away with a wealth of knowledge and a treasure that's sure to keep its place in history.
Literally a little bit shocked and a little bit speechless, but realistically, what do you want?
I'm asking $1 million.
There's a big business in these right here, and I just been looking into maybe getting into it a little bit, but I'm not going to get into it.
No deal is made, but the real story here is about a legendary video game that could change the future of collecting. While Rick steps back, the game stays in the hands of the owner, a priceless piece of nostalgia that's still worth every penny in the eyes of collectors. The $1 million question remains, will this rare find ever hit its true worth?
Hello.
Hello, how are you?
I'm good, how are you?
I'm good. I see you have a rifle there.
I do. It's a Silver War Palmer gun. That's what I've been told.
All right, go ahead and set it right here.
Thank you so much. There you go.
A woman strolled into the gold and silver pawn shop, cradling a hefty piece of history. She believed she was holding a Palmer rifle from 1865, supposedly tied to the Civil War and worth a serious payday. But Chumley, ever the skeptic, wasn't so easily sold. The rifle had no visible Palmer marking, which immediately raised red flags. Still, the stamped year 1865 caught his attention. That placed the weapon right at the Civil War's end, making it worth a closer look. Meanwhile, the seller already had plans for the money, dreaming of spa days, shopping sprees, and tropical escapes.
Time ago.
Just a couple of years.
I'm here at the pawn shop to sell a Silver War. The gun is in incredible condition. It's of course very old. I am hoping to spend this money by going for a spa day, a shopping spree, and of course having a vacation.
When Chumley picked up the rifle, he noticed how compact it was. Unlike the massive muskets usually seen in Civil War relics, this one was slim, possibly designed for cavalry. A mounting loop on its side hinted that it could have been strapped to a rider's belt. The name engraved on the metal, E.G. Lamson and Company, tied the gun to Windsor, Vermont. So while it might not scream Palmer at first glance, it definitely smelled like military history. Then came the backstory. The woman had given a Broadway castmate a tea set once used in Buckingham Palace. In return, she was gifted this rifle, expecting fine art, but unwrapping firepower instead.
You have a compact bolt-action rifle here. Typically, when I think of a Civil War gun, I think of much longer barrels. So this would have been very easily maneuvered, possibly even...
Then she dropped the bomb. She wanted $20,000 for it. 20 grand for a rifle with no confirmed combat history. Chumley knew that was way too risky to consider without expert input, so he called in their go-to gun guru, Alex. The moment Alex laid eyes on it, everything changed. This wasn't just an antique, it was a game changer. The Palmer rifle was the first bolt-action firearm in US history to use metallic cartridges. That meant no more messy muzzle loading, just bolt back, eject, load, and fire. It was revolutionary, and this rifle rifle was the blueprint.
So tell me where you got it.
I was working on a show on Broadway, and one of the cast members, she absolutely loved England and the royal family, and I had a tea set that was used in Buckingham Palace, so I gifted that to her, and she really appreciated it.
Alex explained that the US government had ordered 1,000 of these rifles in 1864. They were built with cavalry in mind, lightweight and easy to maneuver. But fate had other plans. The war ended before the rifles were delivered. By the time they reached the government, the fighting was over, so the weapons were auctioned off as surplus. The rifle in front of them had likely never seen action. In fact, it may have never been fired at all. The bore was spotless, showing no wear, and Alex admitted it was one of the cleanest examples he had ever seen.
All right, how much are you looking to get for it?
You know what? I think we should go hard or go home. I think 20,000.
I mean, this is a beautiful gun. It's got some beautiful markings on it, but for $20,000, I'm definitely gonna have to have this gun evaluated by a professional.
Even with its pristine condition and historic importance, Alex knew it wasn't a $20,000 piece. He valued it between $6,000 and $8,000, depending on whether it could still fire. That led them to the range. And since Alex never does anything halfway, he brought his usual brand of chaos. This time, in the form of a pyramid of pickled eggs. They were a nod to Civil War-era rations, which were meant to last. With safety gear in place, the crew braced themselves. Palmer fired a clean shot straight through the eggs, triggering an explosion of brine and broken shells. It was smelly, it was messy, and it was glorious.
So go ahead and tell Alex what you think you have here.
It's a Civil War Palmer gun, that's what I think it is, and from 1865.
Do you mind if I pick it up?
Go for it.
So, wow, this is in great condition.
Back at the shop, Alex gave his final verdict. The rifle was rare, valuable, and in museum-grade condition. He pinned its retail value at $7,500, but Rick had his concerns. This wasn't a gun that would fly off the shelf. It would take time, patience, and the right buyer who actually understood its historical value. So Rick started low with a $4,000 offer. The seller pushed back, and he raised it to $5,000. She agreed. For a Broadway backstage trade, it turned out to be a sweet deal. A forgotten rifle, a missed war, and a new home, all in a day's work at the pawn shop.
Back and a projectile on the front, that's a metallic cartridge. The inspiration of this design wound up being used in firearms manufacturing and design for another 100 years. So the US government ordered 1,000 of them in 1864, and the intended purpose was for their cavalry.
As Chumley wrapped up the deal, the seller was all smiles. She had walked in with an old rifle and walked out with $5,000. Not bad for something she never asked for in the first place. And while Rick and Chumley joked about celebrating with egg salad sandwiches, there was a quiet sense of victory in the air. The Palmer rifle never got its moment in battle, but today it fired one unforgettable shot right into the heart of Pawn Stars history. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for more awesome content. Your support helps us grow and bring you even more exciting videos. Plus, hit the bell icon so you never miss out on the latest updates. See you in the next one.